What's up, guys? We are here with Tycor Title Talk, and we are going to be talking today about effective communication and how it's important really in any relationship you're in, sales, networking, any friendship. Anytime you're in a relationship with someone, there has to be effective communication,
You mean
right?
I can't just listen and wait for my turn to talk? That's not the way to do it?
Listen and just like interrupt and like interject. Wait, hold on.
Here's what I think about that. Let me tell you about my experience with that. That reminds me of a time when I did this thing.
Yeah. So I think like that leads us right into the first one is to have active listening. Like, what to you is active listening?
Active listening is you listen with your whole body. Like you're leaning in. You're not waiting for your turn to talk. You're listening, not relating. I mean, so many times, and I'm guilty of this, is somebody's telling me this cool story about how they went on this new island that they've never vacationed to before. And I want to be like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, I'm jumping up and down. I can't wait to tell you about where I just went and what a great time we had. And that's what so many of us do. That is not active listening. It's asking questions.
Yes.
Following up. Tell me more about that. What was that like? Really? Right?
Totally. I feel like so many of us, and we're all guilty of it. I am so guilty of it because I'm the first. I want to relate to the person, right? I want to find common ground. Be like, oh my gosh, you love snorkeling? I love snorkeling. Wow. But I just went. But there's so much more that you can go deeper in the conversations with when you ask more questions. And I've tried to really work on this. Every time somebody says something, I'm like, oh, well, what'd you love about it? Or how did you get there? How did that happen? All those kind of.
How'd you decide on that island?
Exactly. Yeah. How'd you decide to go there? And, it's funny because women and men, they both have two completely different ways that they communicate. I think there was a study that was done with like kids in elementary school or middle school. And it was like girls talking. And when they talk, they're like, yeah, oh my gosh, like totally. And they get really into it. There's eye contact, body language. And I know for me, I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, like tell me more. Like yes. But guys, they can have full conversations with like their backs turned or like side to side with each other, and they don't have to have that direct eye contact because they're so used to like playing video games or doing other activities that don't have that same kind of conversation. And I think maybe just girls have girl talk, and we're like, oh my gosh, yes, like tell me about that.
Give me the tea.
And guys don't really talk like that.
As few words as necessary for men, right? And you don't have to do the whole lean in and look deep into my eyes thing. Men tend to not do that.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, though, to think about who's my audience, what's their personality type. You can kind of read a person's energy. You can see if they're really chill.
Wait, that's another point?
That's a whole nother
bullet point.
Active listening is where you're really, look, here's a real great way to think about it. Like if they're opening a door in a conversation and you shut the door by relating and telling them your autobiographical information about it, then you don't get to go into the house, see the living room, see the kitchen, which they're inviting you in by dropping a topic they're talking about. Listen, ask questions, and then you go get to see more and more of the picture. So if we can like tame our tongue a little bit, we might get the whole picture and learn about that shut up. If you shut up and listen. Tame the tongue.
Shut up and listen.
Then we have a shot to go deeper and get some real intel. And it works really in the sales process when we're interviewing agents or when we're talking to sellers, buyers, flippers, all the customers we deal with, or just our interpersonal relationships, friends, and giving a shit about people and actually caring. That's how you do that is you ask questions and then you listen and you ask questions and you care and you listen.
Well, I think in sales though too, it's so important. What do they say? It's like the person who asks the most questions or the person that talks the least is the one that's running the conversation, right?
That's right.
Because they know exactly how to guide it. They know the next conversation. They know the next question, how to ask it. And I know for us, when we're having consults with our agents and when we're talking, we're asking them so many questions. Like, how'd you get to this part in your business? What do you want to do next? What are your goals in your business? How are you looking to achieve that? And then we try to fill in with our tactics on how we can help them by not relating, but giving them tactical advice that we've seen
based on what they've said.
Based off what they've
that's what they said. The famous one is telling is not selling.
Yes.
You control a conversation with questions because you control where the information and the dialogue goes. So, but I mean, I'm guilty of it all the time. I want to tell you everything. I want to tell you right now. I want to tell you in 15 seconds. And that it's because if I'm telling, it's about me.
Yeah.
And who does the conversation need to be about? You. And me, but back and forth, right? So if I'm very, very counterintuitive to me and my personality, so I have to constantly tell myself, shut up and listen.
And I have to always tell myself to ask more questions. Ask more questions. Like ask if they say something and I'm like, oh, well, how did we have to remember to
Instead
ask
of jumping on it and be like, I remember the time I was
So the next bullet point would be like in effective communication is having like emotional intelligence on body language and how to read them and how to mirror them. Because if I know Ryan and I sometimes we have a lot of freaking energy and we come in and we are like, and we come in hot and we are like 5 cups of coffee deep, highly caffeinated. We worked out, like we're sweating.
It's intense, okay?
Like sometimes we can be a little like in your face, and we have to really realize when we're having conversations with clients of like, hey, if they're super chill, and also we're very chill people too. Oh, we are very mellow.
We're not like maniacs. Don't call the 5150 people.
I don't have like anxious energy. Like we are very calm people too.
Both can be true.
But it is important that when you are going in, especially if you're meeting a prospective client that you've never met with before, or a seller, or insert whatever sales you're doing and you're meeting somebody for the first time,
right.
You really have to learn how to match their energy and have those conversations and keep your tone and have those like have tone but authority but also a natural tone. Like nobody wants to talk to somebody when they're like this.
Yeah.
Like that's not how we want to talk with somebody.
No, I mean, effective communication, vital in all sales and relationships. You got to be able to communicate your needs, hear their needs. That leads to a better relationship. But you're right. I mean, if you walk into a scenario where people are pumped and you're not able to match that energy, you're just not on the same frequency. You know what I mean? And the same thing is true if somebody's chill and they're just by nature laid back and they're like kind of cadence is a little slower and like, you know, more analytical, and you can get a read on who that energy, right? And so if you're like and like stuffing information down their throat and they're like barely like putting cream in their coffee to get ready for the meeting, you got to read that. Like mirroring is a big thing because people they tend to receive information in the way they give information. So if they're very deliberate and slow and pensive, you got to match that cadence with them. That's on the phone, that's in person. Because if you're a mismatch and the energies are just off, then then you get body language. Body language is like when you're crossing your legs like that, or when people shut down, or they start looking at the flyer that you gave them, or start looking at their phone. They're telling you, I'm tuned out.
Yeah. Well, I'm crossing my legs because I'm hiding my notes.
I know,
okay?
I know,
Don't call me out. I'm not tuned out, I
people
swear.
Go like this. This is like they cross their arms. I'm closed to you.
I swear, you know I'm not closed off. I promise.
No,
don't call me out.
Sorry.
I got my notes on my lap.
I was giving an example. What else is there?
I think though, also just real quick on that, when you're able to match the energy and have those kind of conversations, it really sets you as kind of being pretty like having empathy and really like empathizing with the person and really listening to what they're saying. And when you can gather what they're saying, you can empathize and have the conversation of like, oh, well, maybe you're not going to go bang 100 calls in one day because that's not what you want to do. But we can do door knocking, open houses, other activities. And so that's where I think it comes in with having that kind of emotional intelligence is you're really able to empathize with people on where they're coming from, how they're communicating, what their needs are. And not everybody's a great communicator. There are people that cannot communicate.
First of all, it requires subduing our ego, what is a primary concern to us. And when people are in a meeting, they're like, how does this affect me? How does this help me? How does it hurt me? You got to move through that and really see the portrait that they're giving you. When we talk to people about, hey, you got to make 10 calls around your open house, 10 to your just sold, 10 to your past clients every day. We've literally had people roll their eyes and literally cross their arms and look at us like we're crazy. So if we aren't adapting our pitch to those cues, we just lost them. Right? They're saying, you lost me. Okay. So we pivot to, well, how do you feel about door knocking? What about business to business? What about originating through, in-person type scenarios?
Well, you literally just took my third bullet point and nailed it on the adaptability.
Oh my God, imagine that.
He's in my mind, in my notes. In my
share the brain and you can help me, okay? I'm just saying.
But I think that's so true. You have to be able to adapt, and it's like we're in sales. We kind of have to be chameleons, right? And not saying to fake the funk. Do not, we have to be our authentic self.
You can be authentic and be accommodating at the same time.
I think that's a great way to put it. Authentic and accommodating. dating.
Yeah.
Because we know we're not everyone's cup of tea. Like, we know there's some people that are like, you guys have way too much energy for me. And we're like, cool, we probably don't need that then in our lives, because we want people that are energetic and ready to go and just as pumped as we are, because we get really pumped up about what we do and we love what we do. So it's having the adaptability of knowing where they're coming from and to being able to meet them there and not having it pretty much your way or the highway, right?
Really great way to say that. Meet them where they are. We have to go where the customer is. Why do you think we do videos and put them on social media? Because only everybody is on social media, right? So if I'm not there, then I'm obsolete. And why do we talk about things that will help other people? Because nobody gives a shit about what we need and what's important to me today. So we try to elaborate on business building tactics or effective communication, which will help you in your business, whatever you sell. Like that type of stuff, empathetic approach. And it's other-centric instead of Ryan and Haley-centric all the time, right?
Yeah.
And if we can do that, and if other salespeople are able to do that and get out of self and into the needs of others, just like you said, I can read if they're into something, not into something, but it requires me getting out of me and into what their needs are. And then you can really start helping people. That's the cool part, is you really see what they are, what does light them up. And then you hit that hot button again and again. Like if the seller tells you that we have this, and this need, listen to what they're telling you and then make those things happen. You're probably going to get the listing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember we were at a conference not that long ago and they were talking about how they lost a listing because in their mind, they knew exactly what the seller wanted. They wanted this price point, but the seller really wanted to move to be closer to his family, and the agent just didn't even
and a cash offer came.
Yes.
It got him to where they wanted to go faster.
Yeah. And the agent lost the listing because he didn't even acknowledge the fact that the sellers were telling him, like, we really want to be closer to our family. That's why we want to sell. And he didn't really understand that. That was kind of a sense of urgency for them. He was like, well, we're going to market it this way, and we're going to have the open houses, and we're going to do this, and I'm going to do all this. And the seller totally was like, you're not listening to anything I just told you. And that agent probably could have got the listing if you would have came at it with like, look, I know we're trying to get you to Montana as quickly as possible to be with your grandbabies. So this is how I'm going to try to get as much exposure as quickly as possible on your property.
I got this.
And I also think of it too, like when I was just thinking of adaptability and the styles that you have of different communication. I know, like, we adapt naturally. All of us do, and we don't even realize it. Like, we have a different style of communication with our friends. Like, my friends I've been with for 20 plus years, I have a way different style of communication than I do with, like, a brand new client that I'm trying to nurture. And,
there's
like,
certain word choice.
Yes, word choices, mannerisms, things said. Like, so it's funny when you think about it. Like, we kind of do it already naturally and adapt to the different areas of where we're at in communication skills. Like networking communication is way different than a one-on-one consult communication. Yeah. My communication with my friends, way different than talking to somebody that I'm just trying to land as a client.
Gary Vee was talking about sending out texts to your database, right? And he's like, your top 25 people, that's one kind of text. Like, yo, I'm here. I still do this. The wider, like 500 people that you know, but you kind of don't know, that's a different text. And then the people that are in your database, but you haven't talked to since like before COVID, that's a completely different text.
Yeah.
You're communicating, you're like rekindling. Yeah. And then some you're just reminding, but you can use the F word with these people. Like, so you're really tight, you know? And so that's a really good point, is how we communicate. We change our styles based on our audience.
I mean, I'm probably not going to text a new client and be like, sup, bitch.
You're not?
I'm not going to, probably
We're not there yet.
Not there yet. But like, I do know we have clients that we are like really friendly with. And I will text my girl and be like, sup, bitch, why aren't you making those calls? What are you doing? Like, but.
So funny. It's so true. Right?
So
Everybody
true.
can relate to that.
Yeah. So I was just thinking of that when we were talking about adaptability. I was like, wait, we kind of do this naturally depending on our settings and where we're at.
We're huge fans of video. Because there's such a leverage point of putting a video and having 50 or 2,050 people see it. There's like one to many, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a no-brainer for us. But we bring up video to some of our clients, and they're just like, they go white, and they start packing their things. Well, okay, you don't have to. Like, we got other things.
Things.
So you pivot. So I think adaptability is huge. You've got to read the room.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe they just had a spat with their spouse, and you're walking into that. The kid just pooped his diaper. Who knows? So you better be able to, like, pivot on the moment.
And have those kind of like knowing exactly where you're at. And that's where the emotional intelligence comes in, the adaptability. So kind of to wrap it up, I think like having those 3 main points, we had some other ones, maybe we'll talk about them later. But I think those are 3 main points is like making sure that you are coming in and actually listening, like actively listening. Forget about the bullshit that you're waiting to say because they're like, oh, there's a pause of what they're saying. Cool. Now I can say, oh my God, you went to this place. Well, I've been there too. What was, let
them finish. When you see them running out of gas.
Let them fully have their thought out before you start thinking of what you want to say. And so many, I'm guilty of it. So many of us are guilty of
human animal is guilty.
Yeah. And because I'll hear them say something because I'm actively listening. And then I'm like, oh, I want to respond to that. And then they keep going. And then I forget. And I'm like, oh, shit. I wanted to go back and like actively listening because you'll listen and then be like, have a great point. And then forget it because they're still going. And then you're like, oh, what was I going to say? Because I wanted. But then who are you thinking about? Yourself. Because you're like, oh, I had this great point that I needed to say. But we really have
maybe if you didn't ever get to make the point, maybe the conversation would still go okay.
Yeah, right? I think so. Sometimes it will come back to me too.
It's like anything else, awareness. So going into talking to your mom on the phone, talking to your wife after you get home, talking to your husband after you get home, whatever it is, right? If you're a little bit intentional and just aware, and you're like, and you catch yourself once, and now that awareness creates a separation from old habits and new habits, and you can give yourself a shot at becoming a more effective communicator with that, especially in the selling scenario. But there's one rule of thumb: if you care and listen to care instead of listening to waiting to talk, that's a great start. Yeah, really hear what they're saying and empathize with them, and repeat back to them. That's another good tool.
Yeah, repeat back to them.
What I'm hearing is that you have a time frame of 3 months. Well, we have to get started, right? Something like that. Repeat back to them is a big one.
So actually actively listening, repeat back to them what they're saying, having that empathy where it comes from, the emotional intelligence of really being able to read the room, reading their energy. Energy is such a big thing, and it's a vibration. It comes off of us. We all have been around those people that have the gray cloud around them, and you can feel it from a mile away when they walk in, and you're just like, I don't know that I need to talk to this person today.
Maybe we just skip that.
Yeah, we're going to let them be them today.
I love when Rob Dial talked about the thing that measures brainwaves. It doesn't touch the skull, but your brainwaves actually can be read by this cone around your head that's measured. That means it leaves the skin, leaves the body, and it puts it out to God knows where. So of course we can feel that and sense that from other people.
And Ryan loves his woo-woo-ness about talking about the moon and the sun and the energy pulls. And if it makes the waves change, it has to affect us in some way.
Right?
So there is so much energy that we don't see that it comes off. So we really have to be able to read that emotional intelligence when somebody is giving us the leaning in and oh yeah,
I'm tracking.
They're tracking. They're into it. When they take out their notes and they're like, hold on, I gotta take notes on this. They're into it. But when they sit back and like you said, cross their legs or kind of pick up their phone, you've lost them.
Yeah.
So
they're looking side to side.
So you really have to pick up on those emotional cues. And if someone's having a bad day, you can't come in and be like, ah! They're going to be like, what the hell? Let me process this energy that you just brought in here.
Exactly. Right. And we're a lot. So machine gun of energy. So listening, picking all that up, the rapport building phase in the first part of any meeting, you're building rapport. How you been?
Yeah.
Oh, I worked out this morning. Or, oh my gosh, I'm been sick. Or you pick up on where you're at in life, and asking questions in that time will kind of give you that read. But, you get never hurt. You're never going to be sorry that you worked on your communication skills.
No.
Ever.
No.
So, that's what we have today.
And adaptability.
Adaptability and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Right?
Some of us have been told we need to work on our communication skills. Not through business partners. I'm just kidding.
I beg to differ. You are a great communicator.
I think so.
We're communicating to you that we're grateful to be on your team and really grateful to be part of this business and super stoked to be here in San Diego. So if you have any questions about other tips of the trade, other things that are leading to success in the real estate space, we're here for it all day long.
All day long. This is what we love to do. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And until next time, I'm Haley.
I'm Ryan. Bye.